Hello and welcome to a special episode of the Formbook looking ahead to this week's Qatar Goodwood Festival. 5 days of brilliant action. Remember, you can watch it all on Racing TV. And we're going to nominate a few horses to follow for all of the action. Yes, welcome along. And remember, you can watch every race from the Qatar Goodwood Festival presented by Visit Qatar live on Racing TV. And if you're not a member, then try and take advantage of our 1 month free trial, which is still available to watch all the best action. Of course, you've got Goodwood and the Galway Festival this week, so plenty to enjoy on the channel. Let's get straight into it then in terms of our selections for this week. I think I'm going to give you 10 horses to follow here across the 5 days. First up is in the 120 at Goodwood on Tuesday, and that's the Roger Varian trained Defiance. Now, we're going to have a little look at this performance, which caught my eye at Epsom, staying on very strongly from the back of the field. Equerry Secret won on this occasion, but just spot the black cap and the high clear silks on the outside. I just thought he stays on nicely, Defiance, from a tricky position at Epsom, this son of Camelot. He's had the gelding operation, and you haven't seen him since 2024 at Royal Ascot when he was well beaten behind Calandigan in the King Edward VII Stakes. So this was his return to action, and I just thought he ran and shaped with plenty of credit, Defiance. So I think hopefully there's a little bit more to come off his current mark, and he makes appeal for Roger Varian and Silvestre de Souza in that opener. So that's Defiance off a mark of 99, hopefully a bit more to come. Next selection also runs on Tuesday in the Vintage Stakes. Now that's Dorset. He comes into this for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore for this 7 furlong contest. Some interesting rivals taking him on, but I've just liked his performance last time out. He was second on his debut behind, I think, Amadeus Mozart, shaped nicely on that occasion. And then we're going to have a look at his victory last time out. Just like the way at the Curragh that he stayed on. He had in behind Benvenuto Cellini, who did the form plenty of favours when also impressing last time out. So there's scope for more improvement, I feel. This 7 furlongs at the moment looks to be his optimum. And he just lengthened out nicely under Ryan Moore. He sort of went about his job in a professional manner. And I think there's going to be a fair bit more to come. Hopefully he can build on this, and the front two pulling nicely clear. Some interesting rivals, Humidity, Zaffateri, Do or Do Not are others that I would be fearful of. But the main one that I'm a bit fearful of is Andab, a horse that I was going to put up for later in the week. I thought he was maybe going to run elsewhere, maybe in the Richmond, but they've decided to run here. And I think there's more to come from him. So he's the one I'm slightly concerned about. But even still, I'm hopeful that Dorset has plenty more to come and can land the Vintage. Another selection on Tuesdays in the 345. Now, this is Chagrin here, representing Michael Appleby. And boy, has this horse been busy this season. A couple of good thirds on his most latest starts, including to Rumstar. We're going to take a look back, though, at a course and distance win at last year's Goodwood Festival. Staying on him, really taking fashion on the outside in that white noseband under Tom Marquand, I think, on this occasion as well, and just powered clear in the closing stages. Marquand is back aboard off a mark of 101. So a bit higher than last year, but there's been running really, really well in listed and Group 3 company. Got to carry top weight here, but I just thought there might be a little bit more to come from Chagrin, representing Michael Appleby. Marquand, as I said, back on board, and clearly he's a horse who has a penchant for Goodwood, and that can be important, especially for these sprinters rolling downhill. He clearly likes the track, and I think he makes a fair bit of appeal. Next horse also runs on Tuesday. That's Godolphin's Dubai Treasure here. Now, Oisin Murphy and Said Bin Surur, I'm recording this on Sunday night. Earlier today, of course, they landed Group 1 glory in Germany with Tornado Alert, and hopefully they can do the business here in the concluding race on day 1. We're going to take a look back at the performance at York. Now, I thought this was a really, really interesting performance because comes there absolutely tanking. Just the third run on turf, but hadn't run on turf since August 2023. This was on 11th of July 2025. So hadn't seen the grass for a fair while, but comes into it travelling really, really powerfully. And at this stage, you'd probably say looks the winner. But I just think the petrol gauge ran out slightly in the closing stages, dropping down to 6 furlongs here. That's going to massively suit. And I just think if you stop that race a furlong out, Dubai Treasure's out in front. So I'm hopeful there's a fair bit more to come. And Said Bin Surur, look, he doesn't have a massive string these days, as we all know, but he had a winner at Royal Ascot. Tornado Alert, again, advertising his class this week. So I think Dubai Treasure makes plenty of appeal in the finale. Has to carry top weight again, but I was impressed with that, and I think there's a fair bit more to come. So that's the first four, all running on Tuesday. Defiance in the 120, Dorset in the Vintage 155, Chagran in one of the sprints at 345, and in the Getting Out Stakes, Dubai Treasure the 530. So that's the look at Tuesday. We've got a couple of selections to come for Wednesday. Now, obviously, as I mentioned, recording this on Sunday nights. We don't have the full decks yet for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I've sort of gone on horses that have already got jockeys booked, and it looks like this has been their target. So the first horse on Wednesday is going to be Tabiti. Now, this horse runs in the Oak Tree Stakes at 155, and I'm also using an old VT, but really the most important VT would have been the third last time out at the Royal Meeting. This was an easy win back in the Dick Paul at the back end of last year. But this horse ran so well in the Sandringham, was on the far side, had to do a lot of the donkey work in that race, and was only just narrowly denied in the closing stages, beaten 2 lengths. I think you can mark up that performance. And I just thought this is a filly who's going to be open to stacks more improvement. Had a lot of weight on that occasion as well, the daughter of Kingman. In the Oak Tree Stakes at the moment, I think she sneaks in towards the bottom in terms of the numbers. Yeah, I think she's 8 stone 13 she'd have to carry. So I think there's a fair bit more to come from Tabiti, and she makes appeal. Also, I think Ryan Moore is dropped down to ride her for Rafe Beckett. So obviously a strong jockey booking, and hopefully there's a fair bit more to come from Tabiti. Next horse also runs on Wednesday, and that's quite an interesting run here for Roger Varian. It's Model Yuko in the 345. Now, we're going to take a look back at a third behind Pina Sonata on this occasion. In the white silks, travelling quite nicely at this stage, but I think maybe inexperience just found this horse out. It was only its second start, having also, funny enough, finished behind Pina Sonata at Wolverhampton. But then she did it nicely when scoring at Wolverhampton last time out, this daughter of Alcazim, being given an opening mark of 85, which I think looks pretty lenient. Currently around a 6-1 chance for this contest. Princess Rascal is interesting at the bottom, but I thought she was very, very interesting in terms of her form and her pedigree. I just think there might be a little bit more to come from Model Yuko. So she made appeal in that 345. So that's your 2 selections on Wednesday. Tabiti, hopefully to run well in the Oak Tree. Ryan Moore aboard. Mark up her Sandringham run. Hopefully got leading claims. And Model Yuko for Roger Varian to Rashida Souza is set to be in the plate for that one. So hopefully 2 fillies that can do the business at Goodwood on Wednesday. Okay, 4 more selections still to come across Thursday and Friday. Now, the first one is a William Haggerstrom runner. That's Noble Horizon, who's set to run hopefully in the 120. He's also got another runner in that. Tom Marquand at the moment is jocked up on both. So it would be great if they both run, but obviously does mean Marquand can't ride both. So someone comes in to ride, or he might just decide to run one of them. But Noble Horizon is the first selection. Really impressive. This was an egg and spoon race. You have to love the turn of foot that this horse showed on this occasion. Bred in the purple, he's a son of Kingman, and the dam, of course, is Great Heavens, who herself was a very, very classy filly. I think she won the Irish Oaks, and she's obviously a sister to Nathaniel, so he couldn't be bred better. And he finally got off the market the 5th time of asking here at Leicester. Didn't have to do much, but I was still impressed with the way he put the race to bed. And previously, he'd finished runner-up to I Am I Said, who is another interesting horse from Rafe Beckett. I think there's a lot more to come from that horse throughout the rest of the year. Brought him along quite steadily, Noble Horizon, and he just struck me as a horse who might be open to a fair bit more improvement for Haggis. So in the 1:20 p.m, hopefully at Goodwood on Thursday, that is Noble Horizon. Next horse is probably the shorty that I'm going to put up for the week, and that's Whirl. She goes in the Nassau Stakes. Of course, this race has got an illustrious roll of honour, and hopefully she can add her name to it. She's been brilliant so far this season. Of course, she won the Musadora. Then she chased home her stable companion, Minnie Hawk, who then subsequently has completed the Epsom and Irish Oaks double at the Surrey track. And then a brilliant performance here where she's seen off Kalpana, who again has advertised the form here in the Pretty Polly. Just loved her attitude. She's so versatile in terms of, she won over 1 mile. She was successful over 1 mile 2 here. And then I think this might just be her optimum trip as well. But she showed that she does stay the 1 mile forward, only narrowly denied by Mini Hawk. Kalpana, of course, has since gone on to finish second in the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes to Calandagan. Lost nothing in defeat on that occasion. So the form looks rock solid, and she is just rock solid. Main rival is going to be See the Fire. I think she was denied in this race last year. Look, she's got plenty of toe and a really potent turn of foot, but Whirl is at the top of her game. And I do think there's stacks more to come from her, and hopefully she can do the business in the Nassau. Final horse that runs on Thursday I'm going to put up is another horse who's beautifully bred, and that's Headmaster. William Haggis, the trainer of this one. Hopefully this is going to be his only runner in the race by the looks of things, so hopefully she will run. And we're going to take a look at her win at Haydock last time out. Now, she's a daughter of, is a son of Dabawi, but he's out to one master. She was a brilliant filly in her own right. I think she had a decent record at Goodwood as well, but won the Group 1 Prix de la Forêt 3 times. And probably should have won this easily and did, but had previously finished second at Windsor. He's now been allotted an opening mark of, I'm just getting it up now, of 88. And I just thought that looks fair enough, really, on what this horse has done so far, and particularly given the breeding. There could just be a fair bit more to come from Headmaster. Some interesting rivals that could line up in that. I mean, some of the horses, Antipodes, who's already beaten One Master, is set to... who's already beaten Headmaster, is already set to run, along with Abundance is another horse that could potentially go. And William Buick looks like he's going to be booked to ride Cavolo Nero. But I just thought on breeding alone, Headmaster makes plenty of appeal, and hopefully he can go close in that contest. So 3 selections on Thursday: Noble Horizon, Whirl in the Nassau, and Headmaster in the finale. One runner still to come that we're going to put up, and we'll do it after this.
Big Ed from Asfura. Big Ed from Asfura to the line. They head. It's nothing in it. Big Ed has won it. He's going to follow up his Ascot Gold Cup success and win his second Qatar Goodwood Cup. Kyprios the winner.
June finishes up well, but Notable Speech will have the final say in the Sussex Stakes.
Yeah, looking forward to all the action at Goodwood. Of course, don't forget, you've got the Sussex Stakes, where Kingman is set to take on both Rassalian and Henri Matisse. Not Kingman, Field of Gold even is set to take on Henri Matisse and also Rassalian. Hopefully he can strut his stuff once more with William Buick in the plate. Interesting in the Goodwood Cup that Aidan O'Brien has declared both Illinois and Scandinavia. Scandinavia in receipt of a stone of weight, which I think might just turn the tables towards him. He was impressive at Newmarket. Illinois is coming off a good run in the Gold Cup, win second, but that race can take it out of horses, and Scandinavia is a horse who's firmly on the upgrade, so I'd probably be with him in the Goodwood Cup. And then plenty of other big racing aside, and the final runner comes in the group action on Friday, and that's Asfora. Can't look past her this year, the Aussie sprinter. As you saw in that VT, she was just denied last year. We're going to take a better and longer look at that performance, taking it from just past the 2 furlong pole, because at this stage, look, of course, where Big Evs is compared to Asfora. Murphy just starting to get rolling, whereas Big Evs is still at the forefront of proceedings. And look, she did hold every chance, but for me, it just took her a while to really let down at the track. I think she wasn't used to running on a downhill sprint track. It just caught her out slightly. And when she gets rolling here, you think she might just come and nab him in the closing stages, but the line comes just in time for Mark Wand and Big Evs. But I think you can mark up that performance from Asfora. Now, of course, the interesting thing is they didn't have a prep run this year at Haydock before they went for the King Charles III. So really, the plan is to stay here longer. They want to run here, then run at the Knaves Might in the Numfort at the back end of August. Then they're also looking at the Flying Five on Irish Champions Weekend, and then going for the Prix de l'Abbey on Arc Day. So they clearly want to do a very, very long sort of summer in Britain this time around. So while she ran okay in the King Charles III. A lot of the suggestions were that she wasn't at her peak because they wanted to maintain her fitness and also her form and how her coat looked coming into the rest of the summer. I think the Numthorpe is the big aim, but I think she ran really well here. Visited as for a couple of weeks ago. She looked in decent nick. Hadn't not done that much work post Royal Ascot. I think Oisin Murphy rode her on Friday, gearing her up for this. But look, I think she's got leading claim. She was only narrowly denied in the race last year. It looked like it's another big who could give us something to worry about if Big Mojo was going to line up. But he's still there, 5-1 currently. Tom Marquand. Time for Sandals is also in it, the Commonwealth Cup winner, along with Frost at Dawn, who was a good winner last time out. A good second last time out. But Night Raider and She's Quality are both talented enough horses, but I just think at the top of her game, winning a King Charles III, she might just prove a little bit too good for her rivals. So Asphora completes the selections for Goodwood. So there you go. That's a look at all of them. Just again, watch every race from the Qatar Goodwood Festival live on Racing TV next week, and it's also Galway, so make sure you're getting involved there. But selections: Defiance in the 120 on Tuesday, 155 Dorset Tuesday, Shagran 345 on Tuesday, Dubai Treasure, who might just be my biggest fancy of the week actually, 5:30 Goodwood on Tuesday, Tabiti in the Oak Tree on Wednesday, Model Yuko to continue the progression in the 345, Noble Horizon hopefully runs on the 120 at Goodwood on Thursday, Whirl next in the Nassau, Headmaster Bred in the Purple hopefully can deliver in the 5:30 at Goodwood on Thursday, and then the Aussie ace herself, Asphora, to fly the flag again and beat the Poms in the King George Qatar Stakes. Hope you've enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments any of your selections for all the action at Goodwood. But remember to gamble responsibly and enjoy the action. Remember, you can watch every race from the Qatar Goodwood Festival live on Racing TV.